Okay, guys, we're continuing on with what we were talking about before with this Flowtime headband. You can see right through here. I've got it on. I've got, remember, the medium uh, rubber band in the back to hold it together because it gets better contact. I just started the app on the phone, which I'll put a little link right up here. Not a link, but at least the icon so you can see what the app looks like. Okay, you do this sensor contact. Let's begin real-time biodata, and it's all loading up. And today we're just going to talk about alpha waves. This is right in the middle of the zone for alpha waves in the brain, which again I'll show up here. Right in the middle of the brain too. This is a middle value of the brain wave cycles per second, which are called hertz. Okay, so like these are right, like I said, right in the middle. Alpha waves go right in the middle of theta and beta waves. Okay, so this is kind of like our relaxation zone. In the zone, if you're working out or something like that, or running or riding a bike, or really get into something where you kind of like lose contact with everything else going on. Remember, beta is like higher thinking, like more attentive, and then higher than that even is gamma waves, and that's like very intensive attention. So the alpha waves are between 7 and 13 hertz. Now remember, that's cycles per second. Remember the outlet we were talking about before, the powers the electricity stuff. That's generally at about 60 hertz is what those are, and that's cycles per second. So basically beats per second. And 7 to 13 is really rather low. You can almost, if we put it on you, you'd definitely be able to feel the difference in muscle contraction if we have it around that area. Alpha waves are also what most people attribute meditation states to. Now, there's other ones too you can get into. It depends on your meditative, like really calm abiding, which we talked about in beta, but that's a little bit more focused. This is a very calm, restful, like when you finish something and you just want to relax, that's more of an alpha state. In that process, our brains are actually getting a little more active in the posterior, the back part of the frontal lobe. Remember, frontal lobe is where we have all our higher thinking, and that's our planning and some of the personality stuff and things like that. As we go further back, we're getting into more like emotional and feeling things, right? And then we get further down, we're getting more in anxiety and fight or flight and rest, digest, things like that. So as we get posterior to the frontal lobes, that's where we're seeing more activity there. That's in the like a thalamus area, which is a switching place, really. What it is, like, remember the old operators in the old days. They would have one cable and they'd plug it in one place and they'd plug the other one in another place to connect things. That's basically what the thalamus does. Now there's also the hypothalamus, which is a little bit more for functional things like heart rate and breathing rates and things like that, and then we go further down for even more of those things. And we find that people who meditate tend to go into those alpha states. Alpha states is a really good way to not battle, but really reduce tension and stress and anxiety. Around 12 hertz, we've found, opens up some of the peripheral blood flow. Now, 12 hertz of what? 12 hertz of, remember, this is about 7 to 13 hertz. Right around 10 hertz is where we start getting some things like promoting the restoration of brain activity after a migraine. Migraine, think of it just like all of everything going on at once. A lot of pressure going on. Migraines are a really common problem in people. They either get them full head migraines. Some people get the auras ahead of times. Some people smell things ahead of times. Some people know that it's coming. You just don't feel right. Generally, if you catch them early and start doing some procedures, maybe it's drinking lots and lots of water or something like that, or taking maybe a medicine, or sometimes herbal things will help. Meditation definitely helps, and getting rest. If you can get that rest early, sometimes you can head it off the pass. Me as a chiropractor and acupuncturist, I tend to find people that if I can get them in the first couple hours of their migraine, generally we can help them get through it much quicker. Okay, and that's one of the things that I've been trying to really look at with this headband, because a migraine is the worst thing in the world if you've ever had one. I've had a couple in my life, and they really knock you down. I mean, you can't see, you can't hear, you can't do anything. You want all the lights off, no sounds, not even the sound of the refrigerator starting up again. Those are things we want to kind of promote. So we try to promote an alpha state. Now, interestingly, with alpha waves, so as we're relaxed, it kind of hits up on Schumann's fundamental frequency, which is 7.38 hertz. That's the same like cycles per second of vibration that the Earth itself does on a grand scale. Now that's a very calming, because we're tuning in. We can say we're tuning into the Earth, right? We're tuning into something. We're tuning into the grand frequency of relaxation and healing. Now those different cycles that we go through are different ways the brain's working. Now, using something like this, which is like just a personal EEG, an electrical encephalogram, right? Along with our little bio data that we get through here, our app, we can over time train ourselves to go further into an alpha state, further into relaxation state. And once we start to do that, we're communicating better with our body. We're using our minds to connect to our body. We're using our body to connect to our minds. Now, in biofeedback, one of the things we try to do, and we can do pretty easily, is control things like breathing. As you get a little bit more adept at that, you control heart rate. Then you can control like the vasodilation of certain places like the hands. You can increase the temperature at will with a little bit of practice. Now there's a couple different machines that do that. This one doesn't really help you do that specifically, but it helps you tune into some things. That's why I like using this for meditation. The meditation process is really about not hacking, but it's really about appreciating the way your brain works. And sometimes your brain even works when you're more in tune with it. It works better. I mean, this is a tool. All of this is tools we can use them to better things. If we're working on anxiety, we're working on ADD, ADHD, chronic fatigue syndrome, chronic migraines, other issues in the body that are related to stress, fibromyalgia, for example. There's tons and tons and tons of issues in the body, anxiety, depression, social anxiety, worry, all of these kind of things that once our minds are trained properly, and this is what we try to do in meditation practices and through the teachings of Buddhism, because we're trying to take those very literally and without more of a secular kind of idea or a scientific, pragmatic Buddhist training, because that's all the Buddha was trying to do, right? He was trying to make sure he was in alpha state because he was too much in the gamma state. He was freaking out about everything. He was worried about stuff. He had a lot to worry about. He was, but anyway, we'll go through that at a different time. Actually, if you subscribe to this channel and hit the like button, go look for the playlists. I have playlists on Buddhist teachings that are very basic. I even have a website, thecenterpath.org, where you can download a Buddhist cheat sheet, which has some of the information on how to deal with stress and how to deal with suffering. Basically, that's what it is, right? Now, go on Reddit if you're into that kind of thing and look up our Flowtime Headband. That's one of the things that I set up to start talking about this process. I'm going to try to post some of these videos on there and post some other stuff as well. Hope you guys are doing well. This was just alpha state. Now we have different ones too. We have alpha and beta and gamma and theta and delta. So we're going to go through the rest of them. Keep watching. We'll get these all going for you. Okay. Get this if you want to get it. I don't have a real good link for it. I think I just got it off the Flowtime website itself. There is a couple other people who are doing videos on this thing. Some of them are really, really, really good. So I'm hoping, we just finished a meditation right there. I just finished getting my report from what my brainwaves were doing. So we just did a little 10-minute on here. Oh, look, we can actually see it. Breath coherence, not so great. Brainwaves all over the freaking place, but that's because I was dealing with talking on this kind of stuff. My pressure, my heart rate variability, 49.7, and my pressure, which shows low, I guess that's like emotional pressure. I was pretty relaxed, but a little more attentive, as we can see. So I was a little bit more in beta, obviously. 48 is my relaxation score, I guess you'd call it. So one of the things I'm doing with this also is I'm doing some different meditations with eyes open, eyes closed, eyes partially closed, etc., to kind of see what my brain does. And I'd love to get other people's information together and start getting some like metadata on what this thing can actually do. Now there's tons and tons and tons of research that is kind of being done. There's not enough. There was tons of MRI and functional MRI and CT scans and stuff like that on brain activity, and even PET scans on brain activity when people were meditating. That's pretty far and wide. They're hard to get to. Sometimes the information is hard to interpret and figure out. But let's make it this is a fun and practical thing that we can use on a daily basis. So anyway, this is Dr. Sean. You guys take care, and talk to you soon. Bye.